This is Gidan Madi, the headquarters of Tangaza local government area. And behind me is Ruwa-Wuri. It is an international road that leads to Sahel countries like Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Now, while it opens up business opportunities for Nigerians and other West Africans, its boundaries have become a haven for Lakurawa terrorists who often attack neighboring communities.
Ruwa-Wuri is a long and lonely road cutting through communities in Tangaza, Sokoto North Senatorial District. The local government area houses border communities to Sahelian countries and since 2020 have come under intense attack by the Lakurawa sect. They are a terrorist group strongly linked to ISIS and other terror groups in the Sahel. It is to eliminate these terrorists that the United States fired several missiles at Tangaza on Christmas Day. These exclusive drone images taken after the strike show the terrorist valley hideouts in Kawuri Kandam and Malgam. Both communities have been cordoned by security operatives who are presently undertaking clearance operations within the vicinity, particularly to guard against unexploded missiles and blasts of improvised explosive devices planted by the terrorists. These residents of Masalashi, neighbors to Kawuri and Malgam, relieved their experiences of the Christmas night strikes. They confirmed the deaths of several terrorists and say no innocent resident was killed.
We had a loud sound 3 times that shook the foundation of our houses, and later we saw fire. It was later we realized that the fire was in Lakurawa terrorist base in Kahuri. Honestly, this is a welcome development.
While the number of terrorists eliminated cannot be ascertained at the moment, residents say many of the Lakurawa terrorists were seen fleeing on motorcycles.
I am very happy about the US bombing. Like most of our people in this community, this strike has sent panic into the Lakurawa camp, as our neighboring communities confirmed to us that they have seen the remnant of the Lakurawa terrorists fleeing their base in Kawuri Kandam and Malgam, where they have dug a well and have as a permanent camp.
Kabir Dogo sells local herbs. He says his business was greatly affected by the Lakurawa terrorists.
The activities of the Lakurawa terrorists has affected my trade. Aside selling traditional herbal medicine, I used to have a monkey and hyena that I used to entertain people and attract customers to buy my medicine. The Lakurawa killed both the monkey and the hyena and almost took my life. They have disrupted my business and make life difficult for me.
While the sect holds extreme religious opinions with which they oppress the locals, it is their impact on economic activities like rustling of livestock that have had more negative impact on the people.
I used to be a trader selling provision in my village, but the activities of Lakurawa in my village has rendered my community have been sacked by the Lakurawa. I was panicked by the report of bombing, fearing it may affect my community people, but thank God that did not happen.
As speculations about the success of the Christmas Day strikes are put to rest, correspondents say it is time for security operatives to move in and occupy the ungoverned spaces.
First off, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Olawale, yesterday reassured investors, analysts and multilateral partners that Nigeria was not at war either with itself or any other nation, but was decisively confronting, alongside trusted international partners, terrorism. This position came in the wake of the recent airstrikes by the United States against terrorist enclaves in Sokoto State. The federal government stated that rather than destabilize markets or weaken confidence, such actions strengthen the foundations of peace, protected productive communities, and reinforce the operations or the conditions required for sustainable growth. Edun, who gave the assurances via a statement personally signed, explained that as markets reopen today, Monday, after the Christmas festivities, in his words, investors can be confident that Nigeria remains focused, reform-driven, and committed committed to stability, end of quote. He stressed that the U.S. military operation in Nigeria was precise, intelligence-led, and focused exclusively on terrorist elements that threatened innocent lives, national stability, and economic activity. Well, a major political shift in the artery of the nation's body politic is about to take place as the Kano State Governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, is being prepped to join the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, alongside members of his new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. The APC leadership targeted the Kano State Governor after its initial bid to woo Rabiu Kwankwaso failed. It set its eyes on the governor, who expressed openness to the idea. Sensing an opening, the APC Aparchik piled pressure on the governor with attractive offers, which eventually swayed him to make up his mind. Sources at Government House Kano confirmed to this day that the governor had been trying to persuade Kwankwaso to join him in defecting to APC, convinced that it was the only way to secure his re-election and preserve the political heritage of the Kwankwansiya movement at this time. A party source claimed that the Kwankwansiya circle had been sharply divided, with some influential members in the State House of Assembly and the National Assembly opting to go with the governor to APC. However, some Kwankwaso's die-hard members had vowed to remain with the NNP leader until he decides otherwise. Right. Rufai, this one in a mix of politics, insecurity news, and of course the economy, with starting off with the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy talking about how the attack against or fight against terrorism should not affect investor confidence negatively. And then of course that report brought to us by Ferdinand, who's now gone on ground to see what's happening, interviewing a few of the locals. Your take on some of these stories this morning?
So a couple of things. Yes, it's right. Wale Adu sound on the right note by telling global investors that, yeah, we're fighting terrorism, which is just only the case to tell them, and that's what is happening. We're not at war. That's a little bit dicey, because when you look at it, people, when they give you the data, Nigeria has been at war for over 10 to 15 years, since 2009, and there's a great war we're fighting with terrorists. But like somebody that will have to reassure investors, you have to put our minds down. But I think what is most important, and another gray area that he needs to also assure investors, is the sanctity of doing business in Nigeria, and which relates to these tax laws we're talking about. After all of the analysis, then the National Assembly says they were going to re-gazette. What we're asking for is, let us see the harmonized copy that they pushed out before now and compare with the gazetted copy. So these attempts to re-gazette is just pulling wool in our eyes. In fact, some people have said it confirms that something was actually manipulated in the tax laws. The likes of Chidion and Kalu, in fact, papers like People's Gazette, other media outlets have been able to say, oh, it just shows that they're pulling wool in our eyes. Yes, Taiwo Idele went to see President Tinubu in the course of the weekend. They said we're going ahead with January. We're going ahead with something in January where there are a lot of skirmishes around. And people are asking questions that have not been answered. So if you're talking about transparency and accountability with wanting people to pay taxes, how about transparency and accountability as regards to processing? Because foreign nations or foreign parties and businesses that want to come and invest, we also have it at the back of their mind that these tax laws were shrouded in a lot of inconsistencies. And I think these are things we need to reassure the investing public about. So you just say in the National Assembly, well, why we still look at it, we're going to go ahead and re-gazette, then you just put a wool in our eyes. We want transparency and accountability. That's why Atiku Abubakar is still making it a front burner topic. That's why other people are still talking about it. We just want things to be done properly in this country. So this attempt of, okay, let's soldier on. And for what it's worth, I hear the president is not going to be in town. He's out of town. So we just want to soldier on, push it till January, as against what the people are saying, and you say this is a democracy? You have no restraint, you have no respect for them, for their hopes and aspirations, for the level of transparency that they ask. If you do it, you might be able to bamboozle your way, but these are the things that dampens the integrity of any government. And with all of these processes, the integrity is highly dampened. I mean, it's not today we've made corrections to the tax laws. We did it in the Finance Act, but we didn't get all of this brouhaha. The Finance Act in 2020 actually did review some of the caps in the tax laws. All we're just saying is that there should be a level of integrity, and that is what is missing here. As regards to terrorists, yes, I'm happy that the villagers themselves said they saw terrorists that died as a result of the strike.
Yeah.
In fact, Riley Moore, the lawmaker in America, was one of those that said, oh, we got a good report from the strike that it did affect them. The villagers are happy, they're feeling relieved. So for all of those that first argued in the first place that why would they strike Sokoto? It's supposed to be Borno, that argument nullified. For people like Sheikh Gumi with all of his incendiary comments, hope he understands that we need to be able to fight terrorism. And if we don't fight terrorism, Nigeria won't be free. So with all of his comments that he will have rather we have Turkey do the work by calling the American terrorists and saying, no, we don't want unholy hands to come. For good measure, if I can extrapolate this talk about unholy hands, Turkey too has skirmishes going on. And it's not all huru for them. What we are saying is, how can we stop this insecurity ravaging our country, causing destruction of lives and property? I think that should be the priority. And for all of those that are telling their darrants that, oh, it's against us. No, it's because we want results. And I'm sure they can watch this video done by Ferdinand that the villagers are actually happy for it. So we must be careful in phrasing this narrative. As regards the governor going, I'm not surprised. You dangle any carrot at any of the governors, they'll go. Because they want political preservation. But it is the people I have to talk to. The same people that talked to NNPP was it. They were going to fight for the governor. We all remember how Kano almost went in flames after I think it was the Court of Appeal ruled in favor of the APC. So you see that these politicians are all the same now. So when it suits the governor, all of those that said they were going to stick their neck out for the Kwankwasia movement, you have forgotten about them. And that's why the power truly should reside with the people and all these political actors, because all they are concerned about is keeping themselves in power. I remember one particular incident, how people fought for this governor. Then he was still a candidate. And I think he was harassed by the police detail of somebody, of a wife of a top person in authority in this country. I remember how people rallied him and all of that. Today he's got into power. The same government that person leaned towards, he's gone to the APC. Right. So it's only when it favors them. And with this, it also shows that Kwankwaso might probably pitch his tent with the APC. Because I'm not sure he'll be able to take this decision without Kwankwaso. Right. So, that's politics for you.
Dr. Bati, your take on these stories.
Okay, starting with Kano. The story is not new. We have been told before now that there was an attempt by the APC machinery, by the Tinubu strategic team, to suck Dr. Kwankwaso into the APC fold. Now, the conversation has been ongoing, but we also got to know that Kwankwaso was not too forthcoming, maybe perhaps of the conditions that he had been given. So, you now find President Tinubu going to the governor. The NNPP has only one state in Nigeria. Now, before now, Ganduje, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is the main man from the Kano establishment in the Tinubu arrangement as chairman of the party, he was eased out quietly. And now, they've now gone for the governor. And we are hearing that the governor is likely to capitulate to increase the number of state governors that have joined the APC from 28 to 29, to make the APC the clear majority party in the country indisputably, and to create a situation, as some have argued, that we are going towards a one-party state. However, I would like to end the story by what Governor Seyi Makinde said in his recent media chat. He said, okay, a party can have the majority number of states. After all, in 2015, the PDP had the majority number of states on its side, but he still lost the election. In Oyo State, where he contested in 2019 and won, the PDP was in a minority situation, but he won. He cited some other examples. In other words, he's saying that it's the people that matter. The fact that the APC takes over the governor and the House of Assembly, and by the way, the NNPP in Kano State is divided on this matter. It's not as if everybody is following the governor. Now, they have 44 local governments. Is there any guarantee that the people, because that was Seyi Makinde's point, that the people are the ones who matter? It's the people who will vote. If you don't rig the election and the people say, this is where we want to go, there is nothing that you can do. You can have state governors declaring for their own selfish reasons. After all, the ultimate purpose of joining politics is to win, is to preserve yourself. I think it would be delusionary for most Nigerians to think that, oh, Mr. X is going into government with the way we are in this country to come and serve you. No, he's going there to serve himself and his family. This is the low point that we have reached, with the lowest 11 in our country serving the best 11, because the best 11 will not even try to go near politics. But we'll see what the outcome will be. We have not heard from Governor Yusuf of Kano State, so the ball is in his court for him to say, oh, I'm going to the APC. Otherwise, whatever we do at this point is purely speculative. Now, that's that about that. Now, as for Tangaza residents saying that there were killings, now, in any form of military action, you must expect collateral damage. You must expect that there will be, casualties. If the United States unleashed about a dozen Tomahawk missiles, Professor Mensham, in his commentary, a leading American professor of political science, has told us in a commentary, although he says America is committing suicide because America is not omnipotent, and that Nigeria should go and sort out its problems. He was saying that one missile costs about $2 million. So the US will spend about $24 million, not to talk of other logistics financing, just to come and waste resources. Of course, there was prior intelligence, which they say was provided by the Nigerian government, so there must be targets. And they said it was precision bombing. So somebody coming out and say some people were killed, that's no news. In a situation like this, there must be, collateral damages, and precision strike means that there will be damages. The extent, the nature of which we still expect the Nigerian government and the American government to tell us. So it's not picking up street gossip. Tangaza residents saying some people were killed. No, that's not what we need. What we need is concrete information. Whether it is classified or unclassified, an averagely intelligent person must know that there must have been casualties. Now, the third is Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, issuing a statement saying that, now that the markets have reopened in Nigeria today, December 29, that, look, the market is doing well, the economy is doing well, the intervention by the United States, he says, has not affected the economy. We're still in a very stable condition. My question is, what do you expect him to say? But the truth, however, are in the details that he pointed out. that for 7 consecutive months, inflation has been going down. That 2, the stock market in Nigeria is doing very well. That 3, that the Tinubu administration is committed to dealing with whatever issues may arise, either with banditry or terrorism. 4, that the operation, the joint operation by Nigeria and the United States was about terrorism. It was not a war situation. So everything that he said, I agree with. He wants to protect the market and reassure investors, institutional partners, and players, stakeholders within the Nigerian economy. My concern, however, which I think is a major point, in my view, is that I hope they have not reduced the coordinating minister of the economy to the level of Mr. Bayo Ononuga, where he will just be issuing press statements. Because recently there was a reorganization in that ministry where Dr. Doris Aniti has now been put in charge of revenue generation and cash management, which is the big business, big assignment in the Ministry of Finance. So I don't want to be nasty, but it will look like, with this statement, yes, Mr. Wale spoke well. He made all the points about credit rating going up, the economy being healthy, and that no investor should be scared by what happened on December 25, and that Nigeria is not at war. But he's the one issuing press statement now. It is Doris Aniti, who is now the one who is going to manage revenue, manage cash management. So what is his job? So even in the management of finances of Nigeria, there seems to be some trouble there. But it is too early for us to make the call in terms of what the real situation is. We will see when Doris Aniti begins to assert herself, and then we'll see whether Mr. Wale Edun is still part of the equation or not. If he's no longer part of the equation, the honorable thing to do will be for him to resign and step aside. So nobody is indispensable. So the Minister of Finance being the one to issue press statements, I think it looks a bit tacky. However, it is important that the budget, whether it's 2024, they are operating 2025 or 2026, is properly cash-backed, and that Nigeria's cash is properly managed, and that revenue generation remains a priority. The president, in an express directive, has now given that assignment to Dr. Doris Aniti.
All right. Well, Mr. Wale Edun, he's said the right things, and I would assume that based on the some of the criticisms that has faced this administration following the U.S. airstrikes, the collaboration with the Nigerian government is information management and the lack thereof in certain instances whereby we now allow foreign powers to lead the conversation when it comes to information management. So perhaps from his perspective, from his ministry, he's been staying on top of things by ensuring that he's sending out the right note, the right confidence to project or to promote confidence in investors. And that's very well so as the markets open today, as I mentioned earlier on. And perhaps that's just to say, and he said the right things. We then also understand and see the importance or the effect or the impact of insecurity on the economy, the impact of insecurity on investor confidence. There might have been some jitters, cold feet, based on the perception around insecurity, terrorism in Nigeria, the fact that some people have opined that, they're at war, what this then means that, yes, we know that the terrorism happens in Nigeria, but now there are now airstrikes happening there. It means it's a very serious situation. Maybe the economy might become unstable and the like. So in him coming out to make that statement, I believe he was preempting that, and we want to see more of this from the government. We do not want the US to lead when it comes comes to information around security and insecurity for Nigeria. We want the Nigerian government, we said they didn't do enough. And I think going back to the Sokoto story, I think it's quite unfortunate that days afterwards, we do not have a formal statement based on reports. Maybe, I mean, it might be due to security concerns, but I believe that the Nigerian people deserve to know what really happened, the efforts that were being made in Sokoto, the outcome, the impact, you know, and things like that. But I'm glad that we had Ferdinand there with that report, Tangaza area, where he had gone to speak to some of the locals. I think it's important because last week Friday, one of the things that we emphasized on was misinformation, and the fact that the people most affected by terrorism are the residents who live in the northern region of Nigeria. And if anything, they should see this as a welcome development. Despite what some propagandists had begun to say that, oh, this is unholy, or this and that, this is not good, the focus should be on the benefit to the Nigerian people, especially when this government has shown a seriousness to tackling insecurity and demonstrated that they would not be folding their hands whilst they see people killed in the northern region and across the country based on terrorism, banditry and kidnapping. So great to hear some of the residents speak and even hear from them the effects that the activities of the Lakurawa terrorist group have had in that area. Another thing that he brought out from that report, which I think it's important to note, was based on the eyewitness of residents there that they saw some terrorists fleeing. Now, when terrorists flee following airstrikes like this, they may take advantage of porous borders, weak state weakness to go into, to hide temporarily in certain areas. For the Lakurawa, Sokoto, Kebbi state that borders with Niger, this is where areas where they might disperse to. So the big question would then be, what is the Nigerian government, especially the military, doing to mop up fleeing terrorists to ensure that they don't go elsewhere, regroup, and continue their terrorist activities? And that's why in the early days, when we had talked about a collaboration between Nigeria and the United States, we had said that in addition to providing intelligence from the Nigerian side of things, the post effects, the mop-up will be done by the Nigerian military, and that's why it is important that the US works in collaboration with them. And so what we're looking at is that to ensure that they are not hiding in the forests, in the surrounding area, they are not also infiltrating, moving closer to the south, we must ensure that the terrorists who fled must be mopped up, must be apprehended, must be caught. There must be, following actions after that airstrike in Sokoto State. As has been said, it's the first of others to come, and so we're looking forward to ensuring that as the US has worked with the Nigerian government for precision strikes in Sokoto, we also believe that those who are fleeing as well should be apprehended. We work with our neighboring countries, especially Niger at this time, to ensure that they do not house these terrorists temporarily, for them to regroup and come back to continue, their atrocities. Now, moving on to politics and what's happening in Kano State, the big issue now, and Dr. Batsi touched on this, around what I had said around the implosion if the APC is not careful. It's one thing to amass defectors, amass governors from different states, but what then might happen would be how to manage relationships with already established structures in the states. We know that the former governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is not, at least up until the last information that we got, is not on good terms with the sitting governor. How will they work together if indeed the sources from that reported or gave information to the This Day crew, how will they manage that relationship? Who will then own the structures in Kano State? Of course, naturally, the sitting governor ought to be the leader of the APC or of the party in that state. How will they work? Has that been ironed out? Have they been able to come to some form of truce with Abdullahi Ganduje and the sitting governor Yusuf with regards to how they'll work together in the state? It's not just in Kano State. In Rivers State, we've had questions around that. In Bayelsa, we've had questions around that. So these are some of the things that the APC would have to deal with as part of this amassing of defectors and bringing people on board. It is also the fact that it might not all go well if it is not properly managed in terms of internal relations, to ensure that sitting members or members who have been loyal to the party do not feel disgruntled and actually work against the party based on their feelings that it is unfair and they're being unfairly treated. So we're still watching. There are a number of things still going to happen, but in terms of consolidating his base in the northwest, if the APC is able to capture Kano State, then that is a big statement, because one of the things we've talked about with this administration is engendering goodwill with the north. And so if they're able to get the Kwankwansia movement on board, it might very well be a game changer for them in the north when it comes to the elections come 2027. But it has been said, until the governor confirms, it's still based on intelligence gathered, if I can use that word, on the ground, and to see that he would potentially defect if, and we don't know if Kwankwanso himself would also be defecting to the APC. So these are amongst other stories. Hopefully in the course of the conversation today, we have Dr. Kunle Fagbemi, who's going to come on the show this morning to speak and take us deeper into some of the concerns and the outcomes following the precision airstrikes in Sokoto State as part of the show.